John Schumann, NBA.com. LeBron, how much has the load that you've had to carry offensively this season affected your ability to play defense at the level that you're capable of?
I don't think it's affected it. The load that I have to carry offensively, it's been what the season has asked for. Obviously, we haven't had many playmakers. Throughout the course of the season, we had some early on, but we made the trades and things of that nature. But it's been what the season has called for, and I've taken that responsibility to be able to, have to make plays for myself, but make plays for my teammates as well. Defensively, we've surrounded ourselves with some more wing defenders this year that allow me to, not have to exert so much energy defensively. But, whenever the number has been called for me to defend, I've been always taking that responsibility. So I don't think that's changed.
Chris in the middle.
LeBron, Chris Fedor, Cleveland.com. There's always so much conversation about the Warriors' offense, but what is it that makes their defense unique?
Draymond. Draymond is the catalyst and the anchor for their defense. Very, very smart defensively. He knows pretty much every set, and he kind of flies around and dictates their defense, either on the perimeter or protecting the rim as well.
Joe in the front.
Joe Varden, Cleveland.com. When this happened, you mentioned the trades, and when it happened, there wasn't much said by either of you. Do you ever look back now and wish that you still had Dwayne?
Well, absolutely. Listen, from not only from a brotherhood aspect and what we know about one another, but and also from an experience, factor. I believe that he would have been very, very good for us in the postseason. He's a guy who's kind of built for the postseason at this point in his career, who lives for the moment. So you definitely think about that. And it seems so long ago that he was even a part of this ball club, But definitely think about it from time to time.
Dave in the front again.
Dave McMenamin, ESPN. There's maximum 4 more games to the season for you guys, and I know you're a live-in-the-moment type of guy, but when you look back at the 2017-18 season, what makes you feel good about the Cleveland Cavaliers and what you guys did?
It's too hard for me to answer right now. Like I said, I can answer that once this series is over. Like I told you guys before, this has been, one of the most challenging, seasons of my career from a standpoint of, what's been going on with our ball club, not only from a playing perspective, but things, guys changing, personnel's changing, our coach being out for a couple of weeks, players leaving, being out for a couple of weeks, injuries, things of that nature. Us having a very, great couple months and not playing so well, and trades happening, things of that nature. So I go in more in detail once this series is over, but it's been 3 or 4, maybe 4 or 5, seasons wrapped in one. That's for sure.
Completely different direction, but you said the other day when you were on FaceTime with Zuri, your eye freaked her out. Does it freak you out? Like when you look in the mirror, it's still as bright as the YouTube symbol.
Yeah.
It's freaking you out.
It's weird. It's weird seeing it. Hopefully it'll go away soon, but it is what it is. It's part of a war wound, and that's what happens when you're in a war. Sometimes you get some injuries, but it hasn't stopped me from preparing. But it's different.
Tim, all the way in the back row.
Tim Reynolds with the AP. Bron, 2 questions. One, all the way back here. Golden State this year, this has been probably the hardest of the 4 years for them, just because they were dealing with some doubt for the first time. Steph got hurt late. Obviously, they got challenged big time in the West Finals. As a fan of the game, as a student of the game, what have they shown you just as far as their toughness, their resiliency this year that really wasn't called on a whole lot in 15 and 17?
Well, at the end of the day, you can never count on a champion, no matter what's going on throughout the course of their season. It's impossible to do that because they're just built from a different cloth, and I know that firsthand. When you win a championship and you're around guys for a long period of time and you know what you're all capable of doing, all you need is to get healthy. and if you can get healthy and guys are playing at the right level at the same time, then you can feel like you can beat anybody. So the best thing about their team is that if one of their stars go down, they have 2 or 3 other stars that's still able to, to hold the ship until everybody get back. And with Steph's injury, him going down, KD and Clay, who never misses a game, and Draymond still being in the lineup. If you look at the previous, time where KD went down, the rest of those guys were in, and held it until KD came back for the playoffs the year before that. So when you have the luxury of not being pressured to come back so fast, and even with Iguodala, him not being pressured to feel like he needs to get back on the floor to help the team win, that the guys are going to continue to play well. And whenever you're ready, we'll be ready for you to join. I think it helps the injury as well, because you're not putting that much pressure on you. So you can never count on a champion at the end of the day, no matter how vulnerable people may seem, or people think they may be, or if they hit some adversity. I think it's all part of the process.
And a non-finals one, I apologize, but it's not uncommon to see you courtside when Bronny's playing. Of course, what's that process been like for you watching him develop? And obviously there's got to be some burdens on him being LeBron James Jr., of course, but what's it been like for you watching him grow, just not as a player, but as a dad? It's
been a treat to watch, being a parent and, seeing my son grow, and from as a basketball player, but not only that, from, being a young man who he is today. The kid will be 14 soon, and, just seeing him grow and grow and grow to become who he is today has been a treat. I think from the burden and from him having the name itself, I think him understanding that, just go out and just play the game and have fun and play for your teammates and give it all you got. You play hard, you play smart, and have fun, and then let everything else take care of itself. The one thing that I have the luxury of knowing everything that he can expect. There's nothing that can hit him that I haven't seen in my life. There's no obstacles that I have that he will run into that I haven't been a part of, that I can't coach him. But at the end of the day, he's still going to have to, live his own life and find his own path. So, but I hope he turns off his comments on social media. That'll be the smartest thing he can do.
Over here on the right side, third row.
Valeria Rubino, Viaggio Sport, Corriere della Sera. How does the outcome of these 3 games impact your love for competition and your mental approach to a challenge that has become even bigger now?
No, listen, every competition, I love to compete. And, at the end of the day, no matter win, lose, or draw, being a part of the biggest stage in our sport is something that I've always loved and never, taken for granted. So, my love of the game continues to get, bigger and bigger and greater, and hopefully my game and my health can continue to be at a level that it is today for some years to come.
Ramona in the back left.
Hi, Ramona Shelburne, ESPN. The Kevin Love said after game 1 that you've said to him, this is the best you've ever felt. You've obviously played in every game. How much of a source of pride is that to you to have played this many games and at this level? And also, is this the best you've ever felt physically?
I think in the simple fact that, to be available to my teammates every single night and them knowing that I will be in uniform, that's the pride factor right there that I don't take for granted, and that's something I take a lot of pride on, just working my body every single day, no matter if it's a win or if it's a loss, no matter if we're getting in at 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, just waking up that next day and doing something, either from a treatment side or lifting or conditioning or shooting, and just preparing myself for the long journey. I just feel like I'm in a great groove right now as far as my career, as far as my body, knowing, what I need to do to be in the best possible shape. And like I stated, I said this at one point throughout this playoff run that I had a walk-off with Cassidy Hubbard after a game, and I told her it's the best I've felt, in my career, and she kind of gave me one of those Cassidy looks. And I got some response from that, but I was very truthful about it. And I still feel good, even with turning my ankle last night, with getting a finger jammed into my eye, and taking the bumps and bruises and grinds throughout this playoff series. I still feel like I'm excited to put on the uniform tomorrow. So, yeah.
As a quick follow-up on the ankle, the TV cameras kind of caught you like turning it, like putting it back into place or something like that. Did you like fix your ankle on the court?
I don't. I'm a little weird. That's all. It's a little weird.
Back right.
LeBron, Dan Devine, Yahoo Sports. You mentioned getting ready for Game 4 tomorrow. A difficult finish, obviously, last night. But what did you see when you reviewed the game this morning that you can take as a positive heading into Game 4 from your performance in Game 3?
From a team aspect, we had great moments. We had great moments, and it's hard for me to. I'm not a guy that like takes positive from games or take. If you lose, it's negative to me. That's just how I am. You could take little bits and pieces and say, okay, well, we played, great, for the first 24 minutes, but then we didn't play well for that 12 minutes in the third quarter. But we should know that Golden State is the best third quarter team in the NBA, and they try to put you away in that third quarter. The fourth quarter, we had opportunities. They scored. We came right back. They hit momentum plays. They went up 4. We came down, hit a 3, made it a one-possession game. You just gotta try to bunker down and get stops and try to create a little space. But we weren't able to do that. So, there was some positives, but there was a lot of negatives as well. In the third quarter, I have to believe they had 6 or 7 dunks, or uncontested layups, and that's just, you can't have that. You already got to worry about, the three-headed monster shooting from 35 feet and Klay, Steph, and KD. And then you're giving up layups and dunks to McGee and Draymond and Iguodala and Livingston. You can't have that.
Anthony over here, and then Ken, last two.
Anthony Slater with The Athletic. You first faced Kevin on this stage back in 2012. I think he was 23 at the time. You guys beat him 4-1. But I was wondering, did you leave that series at all really thinking like, that guy is going to be a roadblock down the line, really on this stage a lot?
Yeah. I thought it would be in OKC. I thought we would have to face him for a while. Yeah, absolutely. Who wouldn't see that?
Do you remember anything specifically in that series, though, that he showed you? Obviously he was already a good player to that point. But
in that series, he didn't. I don't know. It's Kevin Durant at 23. It's Kevin Durant at 18. It's Kevin Durant at 20, 21, 22. There's nothing that Kevin Durant had to show me at 23 that would make me be like, oh, years from now that he would. Nah, Kevin Durant was great at 23. Obviously, as you get older and older, your game gets more and more seasoned. But, everyone knew that that's Kevin Durant. So it's not like you would think that he'll fizzle out. You knew he was built for greatness. From the time that he was drafted. Everybody knew that besides Portland, I guess. Sorry, Portland. Sorry.
Ken, back left, last one.
Tough act to follow. Ken Berger, Bleacher Report. I guess in your career, LeBron, this started with the Celtics getting Kevin Garnett and Ray Allen. And then you go to Miami with D-Wade and Chris to try to take those guys out. And you come back here with Kyrie and Kevin, and the next thing you know, the Warriors have Kevin Durant. How do you view that dynamic, that where players, superstars in this league, are able to kind of control their own destiny to some degree? Or is there a level of disappointment, having now been maybe on the other side of that a little bit, that you put in all this work to put a team together and build it a certain way and put in all the work, and someone just comes along and puts something else together that might be better?
Yeah. That's the challenge. That's the challenge in this league, and I think every GM and every president and every coaching staff is trying to figure out a way how they can, make up the right mashup to compete for a championship and win a championship. So, like you said before, I felt like my first stint here, I just didn't have the level of talent to compete versus the best teams in the NBA, let alone just Boston. When you looked at, Rondo and KG and Paul and Ray, you knew there were great basketball players, but not only great basketball players. You've seen their minds were in it too when you were playing them. They were calling out sets. You know, Rondo, Rondo was calling out sets every time you come down, and you're like, okay, this is bigger than basketball. So not only do you have to have the talent, you got to have the minds as well. So, you know, I knew that my talent level here in Cleveland couldn't succeed getting past the Boston, getting past, you know, the San Antonios of the league and whatever the case may be. So I played with D. Wade. I played with Bosh. You know, in the Olympics, I knew D. Wade for years. I knew their minds. I knew, you know, how they thought the game more than just playing the game. Obviously, we all knew their talent, but I knew their minds as well. So, you know, I linked up with them. We went to Miami, got some other great minds, and Mike Miller, and, you know, UD is a great mind, but also a competitor and guys that with talent. So, you know, you build that talent. So that's what you want to try to do. And then you come here and, you know, I knew Kyrie having the talent. I want to try to build his mind up to try to fast track his mind, because I feel like in order to win, you got to have talent, but you got to be very cerebral too. I mean, I mean, there's so many. Listen, we're all NBA players. Everybody know how to put the ball in the hoop, but who can think throughout the course of the game? And, you know, this is so challenging for me to sit up here and say, because of people who really don't know the game, don't really know what I'm talking about. They just think that you just go out and like, oh, LeBron, you're bigger and faster and stronger than everybody. You should drive every single time, and you should dunk every single play, and you should never get tired. Never. Like it's a video game, and you went on the options, and you turned down fatigue all the way to 0 and injuries all the way down to 0. So we come back here, and we get the minds, and we build a championship team. And then Golden State, because of Steph's injuries early on in his career, his contract situation, and then them drafting Draymond and drafting Clay, and them being under the contracts they were in, allowed their franchise to go out to get KD. And so they win a championship, and then we play them, and we come back from 3-1, and we beat them. But that was the best regular season, probably the best team I had ever played against. They go 73-9, and then you add one of the best players that the NBA has ever seen. So now everyone's trying to figure that out. How do you put together a group of talent, but also a group of minds as well, to be able to compete with Golden State, to be able to compete for a championship? So that's what GMs and presidents and certain players. It's not every player. Every player does not want to. It's sad to say, but every player don't want to compete for a championship and be in a position where every possession is pressure. You got to follow up, it looks like.
You mentioned in your first part of your answer, when you were here the first time, you came to the conclusion you didn't have enough. I'm not trying to get you to say anything negative about anybody, but how do you feel now?
You actually are trying to get me to say something?
I don't know what your answer is.
Listen, at the end of the day, I'm living in the moment now. I went back for your question. We've had an opportunity to win 2 of these games in this 3-game series so far, and we haven't come up with it. Obviously, from a talent perspective, if you look at Golden State, from their top 5 best players to our top 5 players, you would say that they're stacked better than us. I mean, let's just speak truth. Kevin Durant, and you got 2 guys with MVPs on their team, and then you got a guy in Clay who could easily be on a team and carry a team, score 40 in a quarter before, and then you have Draymond, who's arguably one of the best defenders and minds that we have in our game. So you have that crew, and then you add on a Finals MVP coming off the bench, a #1 pick in Livingston, an all-star in David West, and whatever case may be. So they have a lot of talent. We have a lot of talent as well, but we've been in a position where we could win 2 out of these 3 games. So what do we have to do? Is it we have to make more shots? Is it we have to have our minds into it a little bit more? Is it, you know, if there's a ball on the ground, we can't reach for it, you got to dive for it. When you're playing, like I stated last night, or like 12 hours ago, was it 12 hours ago? Like the room for error versus a team like this is slim to none. And I think I said last night, it's like playing the Patriots, it's like playing San Antonio. The room for error is slim to none. And when you make mistakes, they make you pay because they're already more talented than you are. But they also have the minds behind it too, and they also have the championship DNA. So,
Thank you, LeBron. Coach Kerr will be up next.